perfect blossom is a rare thing. You could spend your life looking for one, and it would not be a wasted life.
When Captain Ogren is traveling to Japan, there's a scene of him watching Mount Fuji looming on the horizon. It's a scene I always assumed was just sort of put there, because it's Japan and Mount Fuji is, well, pretty. It's a scene that serves as exposition, revealing in quick succession Captain Ogren's state of mind, his lingering respect for the people he suppressed in the past, his reluctance to do so again in the near future, his trouble with his identity as a soldier, and that he finds comfort in the emptiness of the sea. It captures Ogren as a character before catapulting him through a journey that would ultimately lead him here.
I will tell you how he lived.
But why in the first act of the film are we shown a clear shot of Mount Fuji? And is there more to it than it just being a beautiful scene? The film opens on its deuteragonist, Watanabe, caught in a vision. A deuteragonist is a story's second most important character, someone who is in league with the protagonist but who has their own character arc to fulfill. And boy does he.
Perfect.
Samwise Gamgee is also a deuteragonist, in case you were wondering. Aside from just introducing Watanabe, the opening scene sets a precedence that visions and flashbacks later on only come in blue.
I'm writing a poem about a dream I had. The tiger's eyes are like my own, but he comes from Rakvarsa deep and traveled the sea.
We're introduced to an intoxicated Nathan Ogren. He's angry, he kinda hates everything, including us. Note the haphazardly placed flags at an event meant to appear patriotic. It's not that Ogren hates us for enjoying this farce, he hates himself for being the farce, in the name of commercial opportunities. Within 10 minutes of the film starting, Captain Ogren's been fired, hired, threatened his commanding officer, and has mostly crossed the largest ocean on planet Earth.
Are you formally challenging me to undertake a journey around the world in 80 days?
I said this is absurd.
Ogren steps out into the sunrise to contemplate the sea, and for the first time, gaze upon Mount Fuji. We can't help but feel like it's staring back. It serves as both a visual representation of the task ahead and a way of life Ogren will eventually try to wrap his head around.
Fuji's nickname means causing the blossom to bloom brightly.
Its shapes sort of reflect the quest for beauty and simplicity at the heart of so much of Japanese culture.
Japan's most revered mountain, Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji is a sacred mountain, the soul of Japan, and is deeply rooted in Japanese culture. It's a singular peak that, as Dr. Ed Birnbaum puts it, symbolizes the quest for beauty and perfection. As we've seen from Ogren's need to drown the past in alcohol, what the man needs is to let go of the past and find some peace. He is now on his quest for beauty and perfection, to let go and find some peace. Fast forward past some exposition about Japan and really hammering in the point that this guy is in fact angry, we get to Ogren's first encounter with the samurai.
In our handling test, the samurai acts about like any other 4x4. The nose swings naturally into a turn, but the high center of gravity makes for a lot of body roll. Thankfully, the Tane power plant makes it hard to push the samurai to a dangerous point.
The battlefield is covered in a heavy mist. On the surface, it adds tension to the scene and gravitas to the samurai. But the color grading leads me to believe that it also reflects Ogren's state of mind. The man is a drunk and lives in a fog much like this. In the cold blues we see in the film's flashbacks and visions, never quite here. It's contrasted well by the final battle. Clear skies in a genre that loves climactic battles to happen in the rain. Once captured, some of his other issues are revealed, including his unwillingness to let go and just be here. At which point, Ogren's transformation really begins.
In spring, the snows will melt and the pastures will open. Until that time, you are here.
A couple important things happen that break apart the identity he stamped on himself. He sheds his uniform. He stops overthinking.
Too many mind.
His name changes. Captain Ogren being referred to as
Aluglang
is of course just how his name sounds with Japanese syllabaries, Arugureten, but it also shows that we are now dealing with a different person. We see him as a silhouette, physically blending in with the surrounding hills. This might be a stretch, but when he hands Hegan extra logs, I think it represents him letting go of his baggage. He even meditates, and has his own use the force moment. The guy's a changed man. And all while this is happening, we get to know Katsumoto. It's revealed that he and Aruguren aren't so different, and that he is also on a quest for beauty and perfection, namely the search for the perfect blossom. I know what you're thinking. Boy, Katsumoto sure is a lot like the US president, right?
The 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, "We will not go quietly into the night."
I think from a Western point of view, Katsumoto is like the human representation of Mount Fuji, an ideal, similar to Western cinema's interpretation of the US president in most action films. A heroic, level-headed figure surrounded by a cabinet of loyal, duty-bound, equally heroic civil servants. In these films, the president isn't so much a person, but a symbol capturing an ideal, the inaccurate soul of America.
Get off my plane.
Katsumoto is just like that, but for the samurai. Not a historically accurate depiction of one who lived by Bushido, but the ideal, the possibility. He is the personification of Mount Fuji, the soul of Japan, and his whole life, he's been on a quest for beauty and perfection. He ultimately finds it in an honorable death. Aruguren finds it in a peaceful life. It's Chekhov's gun fired right under our noses. It's a narrative principle that goes something like this. If you hang a rifle on the wall in the first act, it should definitely be fired in the second or third act. Otherwise, don't put it there. Making this the rifle, these scenes the ammunition, and this the firing of that rifle. Or, I guess, these the firing of that rifle. So why in the first act of the film are we shown a clear shot of Mount Fuji? Because it gives Ogren a quest that ultimately leads him to find some small measure of peace that we all seek and few of us ever find.